to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team.
Hello, hello. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Is it better now? Baby, I'll be there. All right, there we go, man. Me and technicalities, man. I'm glad I got that fixed, man. Before I went on live, man, for the game. We'd have been sitting there now. So I guess we good now. Thank you, T. T. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you big time, man. I appreciate you, hanging in there and listen to me and get me squared away, man. So now we into the want to get into what we want to talk about, man. We going on live tonight. This is the first, like I told you, the season has started. Anytime you start playing up the competition, the season has started. So the season actually started when we had our first practice session. And a lot of people got a lot of crazy about it. If you look at my last video, my last two videos, one of them went just got messed up on me. But I talked about a lot of things. If you will go back and watch that last video, um, man, all those things. That's before I heard Schottenheimer talk, and most of the stuff they talked about, how he explained things, was basically what I told people how I looked at the first practice session. I told you we in the stage of learning each other. We in the stage of learning this team. Y'all gonna really pick up on my five cultural building blocks. We're gonna talk about the five cultural building blocks, and we're gonna talk about the stages we in because that's where I'm focusing on that. That is gonna be the key. It's not gonna be the big things. It's gonna be the little things that's gonna be key here. But my show today is talking about total team accountability. And I'm here to talk about this for a few minutes before I start getting prepared for tonight's uh, telecast. Is that I'm gonna say something here that a lot of Cowboy fans are going to probably jump down my throat with, but I want to make sure that they understand that I'm on their side when it comes to our front office. I am not a component of how our front office deals with situations. I think that the ego of our front office is way over the top. Um, like I said, the star when they get in this, the front office getting the star. I said this is stubborn, tumultuous, arrogant reactions. That's what the star means for them, and I really do mean that. But there's a thin line, and I'll keep saying in a lot of situations in life and in the football, there's a thin line where you can go to the point of you could go to the point of so much on dwelling on the organization that you start to leave the accountability out for the other parts. There's really a three, four accountability for any team to be really successful. And if you want to talk about pros, it's the front office. You want to talk about college, it's the athletic director, athletic department. You want to talk about high school, it's the principal, the athletic director, all this. So it's three parts, and that's not the three parts, but it's the front office, your coaching staff, and your players. And there's a thin line between the accountability that each wants to have. And if we lean too far on one part of making them accountable or harping on their accountability, sometimes we allow the other parts to get a pass and not do their job. And I'm not defending the front office in this statement. But there are some things that I want to see as a coach that holds accountability for this whole team. The reason why I said that, there was a post by Smoke, and I give him the Smoke, Cowboy fan, man, great Cowboy fan, great knowledgeable fan. And he posted something on Twitter when he posted Chris Jones. It was a thing on Chris Jones. You go on my Twitter at Coach Marv 1914, you'll see where I replied to this post. And it was about Chris Jones at the Kansas City Chief practices, getting on Carl Karlaftis and holding him accountable about a drill that they were running as a defensive lineman. He was really getting on his case and about really saying, hey, man, you know, you really playing this and you got to do something. And I thought about that. And I'm asking y'all in the chat, have we ever seen, now, some of you that could go back to the Cowboys' heyday of winning, y'all have seen Troy Aikman get on his lineman. Y'all have, and I'm going to give you a point about another guy that was just like that. But I want to first say, have y'all ever seen our players actually get on their own teammates? Now, I know we've seen this somewhat, but sometimes a conflict between players is good. Not egos, but good for the greater good of the team. And I put in the chat when I saw that, and I replied to it, and I replied in this way. Sometimes this team don't have inner dogs, and I'm not talking about our players, but we don't have a mentality of self-correcting. I know we've been preaching about the run game, and we've been preaching about running the football. And we looked at this first preseason practice, and y'all like, man, it didn't look good. But I'm here to tell you, and everybody, you know, and we are on the front office, and I know Stephen Jones talking about we need some defensive tackles, and I know we've been on our team about this one tech. I know that's been and I'm not a component with the injuries of always improving, of getting players. But you know, Coach Marv has always been on this point is, one thing I do know about football, running the football and stopping the run, you cannot pinpoint. If you can't run the ball or you cannot stop the run at all, it is definitely not one position group. Running the ball and stopping the run is probably the two most biggest team. It's a team, biggest team sport. But those are the two biggest things that take a collection of people to get right. In most cases, when a run goes a long way, it takes 10 to 9 guys to even come up and do their job so a guy can get loose. And to hold a run game down for a whole game where you just keep it in check takes 11 guys. And some of y'all don't believe me because what Matt Eagleflue said the same thing. And if you ask any defensive coordinator, they'll tell you the exact same thing if you don't believe coach. They would never say, well, you know, we got to be, these guys got to get better. We got to get better. No. Even Matt Eagleflue said, we're not a good tackling team till our cornerbacks learn how to tackle. And he said, cornerbacks? What is that saying? Some people look at that saying, well, you know, coach, you trying to get our cornerbacks to be tough so people won't run outside. That is saying that. But what he's saying is, we're not considered a good tackling team to the least of our defensive players that we consider being tacklers are good. If anybody was asked you who's supposed to be the least of your tacklers, most people would point to cornerbacks. They say safety's got to tackle, linebackers got to tackle, defensive linemen, they tackle, they physical. But when he stopped pointing at cornerbacks, what he's saying is, if my least is good, then the rest of is good. So if the least brings the physicality, the rest of them good. But that's got to be a spread out mentality of this team. So when I answered that post, when I saw the Chris Jones thing, it shows me, when I talk about accountability, it showed me a leader on the field, not in the front office, not in the coaching staff, a on the field leader showing two things. One, he's in the drill, and he's going hard in the drill. Two, and he's probably dominating the drill. And two, Chris Jones says, Karlaftis is a good player, but I expect the exact same effort that I'm giving for you to do it. And he accepted no excuses. And did you hear Karlaftis say, if y'all watched that video, did you hear Karlaftis say anything back? No, he did. He put his helmet on and got back in that drill. So when I hear people talking about we can't stop the run, I go back and start thinking. And if any of y'all in the chat have played football before, some of y'all played football before, y'all know that there's people on your team, especially your defense, they hyped everybody up. And they didn't allow nobody to play soft. When I was in college, the leader of the pack that got people, even got defensive linemen and linebackers in check, was our all-pro cornerback. Well, they're not all-pro, but all-conference cornerback. Yeah. He was a dog. And he'll fight you in the locker room. He was just that guy. But if somebody running the ball on him, he could be at corner. But when he came in that defensive huddle, he got people in check. And he made sure everybody's mentality was like, hey, this ain't got nothing to do with Mozzie or the defensive tackle. Where everybody else at? And that's what I said. That's what our leaders need to do. If you go back to my first, and listen, I'm not, I have to say this again because we got people out there, this may get to one of our great players, or to me, some people may say, hey, man, you bashing Michael Parsons or you bashing Osa. No, I'm not. But when it comes to stopping the run, and you're going to have, Michael's going to get paid by the Cowboys or whatever, right? If you don't, it is. But when you got the two highest paid players on your defense, when it comes to stop the run, they're supposed to take full accountability. I'm going to say it again. They're supposed to take full accountability of their defense because that's their defense. Not being able to stop the run. And they can't use no excuse about we undersized, or I'm tired, or this guy, or we need some help. Yes, there's nothing wrong with trying to get there, but I have a big problem when I have a problem when there's something going wrong on the football field. And the first thing my players say is we need help. We need better players. My question to them is, yes, as a coach, yes, we need to get better. But are you saying that you're going to get better and be 2 times better at your job doing the same thing? That's going to even help if we don't get nobody. If you're 2 times better, that's going to help us out. But if you're saying, I'm going to play the same and y'all need to get some more guys, and when I look at it, you're not 100% the best. I got a problem with that. Now, if somebody want to take that as being a diss, take it as you want to be. But it's the truth. The first thing I want our leaders to say is, I'm going to make it right. And that is, if I got to make it right with the guys, whatever guys we got here, I think they got enough talent. We're going to we're going to make it right. But what I see sometimes with our players is too much patting each other on the back. And what Chris Jones was showing on that video, Carl Loftus is one of the star words on that team, defense. But he wasn't patting Karlaftis on the back. In a way, he was putting his foot in Karlaftis' butt to get his butt started. Because guess what? If the defense fails, who's the best player on defense? Chris Jones. So who defense is that? Chris Jones. And if he's a leader, you're going to make me look good. So you're going to put the work in so we can all look good, because guess what? If it doesn't fall out, who they going to start talking about first? Chris Jones. And sometimes being nice and buddy can't get people to let you down. That can get you to let people let you down. So I'm looking for Osa and Micah to lead the charge on the run stopping. And if we make an excuse for these guys and we say we're going to put it to somebody else to start the charge and be the dominant run people, then we're taking the accountability off the head. And it's a thin line when you do that, because what you can start doing is you can start building excuses for your leaders. Now, I'm not ripping nobody, and I understand when we talk about the Joneses, we need to get this, we need to get that. But I started thinking about something. 2 years ago, we said the run game problem was we had little linebackers. Then last year, we ain't got no DTs. When is the accountability of this whole defense going to be put in question? Not about the coaches, about them. Now, Smoke came up with a thing when he said, "Hey, man, we have, we don't win the playoffs. We've been playoff ready. We've been in the regular season, and then we get into the postseason. We had bad play calling. We had people changing game plans, holding grudges, and basically the coaches not getting the team ready." And I was a component of that. But you still got to be very careful when we start blaming too much of ownership and coaches, because what happens is players start to hide behind the veil. And what that is, the problem, they start hiding and say, well, I know I didn't play as well, but they kind of overlooking me. And then that way you're never gonna get anything corrected. And then that coach, if you're talking about Schottenheimer's building, he's not gonna get it until we get full accountability and everybody takes ownership of the success and the failure of this team. See, when we start pointing fingers to specific people, those are what we call losing organizations. See, winning organizations, yeah, they understand there's they're gonna point to areas they can improve in, but they're gonna look at the total overall thing and say, hey, we gotta improve in everything, because sometimes stuff is not gonna be perfect, and we gotta be able to overlap that. Because when we watch this game tonight, as soon as they run the ball, the first thing, if they get any yards, the first thing that everybody's going to look at, they're going to look at the defensive tackles. And if the defensive tackle get beat, they're going to say, well, that's why they ran the ball. But if they look at the whole thing, they're going to see some other people get beat too. Now, I understand we just only going off highlights and stuff like that in training camp. But there's not been a person that's been a bigger component of this player than me. I love this player. I think he got his money. I think he's very underrated. I think run and pass, he's been. But I hadn't heard a damn thing about Osa this whole training camp. Did he get his money and get disappeared? Or now we have already crowned him as being good, and we just focusing on Marv? See, when Zach Martin game started to slip, when people don't like to hear that, we crowned him as being the top, but his game was slipping a little because of injuries and a little age. We were focusing on Terrence Steele because that was our pet peeve to jump on. I will tell you this. The Rams, when Aaron Donald was playing, did anybody remember the one take that Aaron Donald had played beside him? No, you could trade that in. You could put a different guy in there every week you want to. Because if you decide to double team the one tech in Aaron Donald, Aaron Donald, who was the one tech when playing beside Aaron Donald, he was going to destroy you. Because that means you had to block him one-on-one. If you feel like you're weak at one tech, don't you supposed to be dominant at three? But no, our fans don't look at that. We just focus on it. And I've said this, and this is a common sense thing. If I'm dominant at three, I'm dominant at defensive ends playing the run, I'm dominant at linebacker. Tell me how bad a one take on her. If he just adequate, how good is my run defense? But what we're going to do, we're going to focus on Mozzie to be super. And then we ask everybody else to be okay. That's what we be doing. We're going to microscope him and every other one tech. And we just going to general look at everybody else. You cannot do that with run defense. And if you got a run defense that comes out there and they start saying, you got any guys talking about, hey, man, y'all guys, it's y'all job to stop the run. So y'all get us to the pass. You'll stop it from here and there, but teams that can consistently can run the ball and run over you anytime. Because you ain't got in your heart to stop it. Charles Haley. Everybody want to talk about Charles Haley. Some of y'all remember Charles Haley when he came here. Everybody talk about Charles Haley came here and he was the guy, the missing piece of the Dallas Cowboys that came here. Remember that? Everybody talks about Charles Haley. He was the missing piece of the Dallas Cowboys that came to Dallas, and he was the one who put us over the top. Did Charles Haley come here and he was the missing piece? Did his play put us over the top? No, I don't think Charles. I think Charles had way better years, statistically wise, at San Francisco. I think he was in the running. If he may have won a defensive MVP, he was in the running for defensive MVP all those years he was with San Francisco. He was a more of a dominant player at San Francisco. When he got to Dallas, his back was bothering him. He put up some numbers. I think he got 10 sacks, but collectively we was, he was in a rotation. He was not always in there. He missed some games, missed a lot of games, but his impact was in there. But his smarts was impeccable. And he was put in a team that was already athletic, player ready to win the Super Bowl. Charles Haley came in to give us that spark, but what he gave us more than anything else is what Chris Jones was doing in that practice. If you hear the documentary about Charles Haley, they say Charles came in and read everybody. He read all the offensive linemen and all the defensive linemen, what the scout report was on all those, because he had studied them. He was a student of the game. And he told them all their weaknesses. And he ain't telling them in no nice way. He was ripping on them. And I remember somebody said that Troy Aikman was yelling at the players, and they were talking about, this thing came out talking about Troy was treating black players not like he would treat white players. And guess who came to his defense? And they're good friends. Charles Haley came to his defense and said he should be talking to y'all like that. He should be getting on y'all butt because it's his job to keep y'all in line. Because that's how we're going to win a Super Bowl. See, that's what Chris Jones was saying. That's that internal dog that says, I care what the coaches say, but this is for us. This is my team. I'm on this team. And you're not going to shortchange me on this team. I've seen players, I've coached players, I have been on teams where defensive linemen were fighting each other, where offensive linemen fighting each other. I'm not saying that that's going to be, you're supposed to have that, but what it was they were holding each other accountable because I can't take your laxness because we're trying to win. And you got to have those type of dogs. Now, do we have those type of dogs as leaders? I don't know. If we can't run the ball, Tyler, the new leader now, which was Zach Martin, if we can't run the ball, Terrence Steele and Tyler Smith and your quarterback should be in everybody's face. That's just how it is. I ain't got to wait for the offensive line coach to get in. We waiting on the offensive line coach. We waiting on the offensive coordinator. No. The first people should be your leaders on offense. Y'all seen that thing when Troy came on sideline and said, we can't run the beeping ball, man. We got it. That's leadership. When are the players going to take it accountable that we can't do something physically? Now, I want you to understand what I just said. When are the players going to take accountability in the most physical part of a game, running and stopping the run? When are they going to get to the point where they get upset and pissed off and get their players together? Or they're going to wait on us to keep talking about the front office and going by and getting guys? And we think we're going to just bring a guy in here and he's going to change. Listen, if you bring a guy in here that these guys been together all OTAs, all training camp, and do you bring a guy in here and he becomes a de facto leader of your defensive line and he gets everybody in tap to run the ball, stop the run, and he becomes just that motivating thing that sparks everybody to go to be running the ball, and he just got off the street or just came from another team, your team ain't going nowhere. Because who you got on this team leading it ain't no leaders. If I got to get another man to come, and I done had the house, all this house, and we've been doing stuff, if I can't say something about getting it, if I can see that the performance in this house, I can't raise the level of the performance in this house, but I need somebody else to come in my house and get everybody on board. Then I'm a poor guy. I'm a poor guy that's leading the house. And that's the point blank. Now, y'all can say that I'm getting on the lead. Oh, yeah. When are they going to be accountable? I talked about the 5 building blocks of a culture. And I talked about how they would, and I said that Schottenheimer had to build those 5 building blocks. And I told you there's going to be some things he's building. And the first one of those building blocks that I said he had to build was, the first one was physicality. Right? You see it right here on the bottom. Physicality was the first building. These were the natural building blocks of a culture. So physicality, he done talked about that on several occasions, right? He's been talking about building some calluses. He's trying to build some toughness. When he say he's trying to build calluses, he's trying to build toughness, and that is going to touch on 2 of the building blocks. But the first one was physicality. Then I said the second building block that he's got to have was what? What's the second building block that I said? Let me pull it up so y'all can see it. I said the second one was discipline. He's talked about that, how we gonna be disciplined in practice, how we're not gonna hurt us, but we gotta be physical, but we gotta be disciplined. He's talking about discipline, about staying to the task. He's trying to build a culture here, people, and it's not gonna happen in one day, but I can see the signs. And then the third one deals about what I would talk about with being that physicality and trying to get your team. And I said this one, last 3 years, last 5 years, we didn't have this mental toughness to stay the course, to impose your will on another man, to take adversity. He's trying to do that with competition. That's why he's making compete with everything. He's trying to build this culture, but we got to help him as fans. We got to stop falling into this pointing fingers and surface stuff and put the emphasis on team. He been saying this. We've been hiding behind Dak Prescott, we've been getting pet peeves, the point fingers at, even hiding behind the Joneses, even with their silliness. But just when Chris Jones was talking, it's this next one that is very important. And I think the Joneses are hurting us because without Micah, and I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say another thing about Micah and this not practicing thing. I'm gonna tap on that again. And I'm gonna go back to Osa again. But this coaching / leadership, this is the fourth building block. The coaching, they say they're trying to teach. The coaches say they're trying to teach them how to practice. Well, they've been in there 3 weeks. It's now time for Dak, for CeeDee Lamb, for the Michael Parsons, the Osas, the Trayvon Diggs, the Blands, to start demanding guys execute like they supposed to. And that means they got to be on top of their game. That means they got to work hard. Your coaches are trying to show you how to practice, but now it's time to do what Chris Jones did. He ain't waiting on the defensive line coach to say nothing. He see Karlaftis is not doing what he's supposed to do. And what he told him, do it again. Do it over and over and over again in practice. What you sitting out for? You're 26 years old. He told him, say, man, I'm out here. Listen, that's the part of the leadership. The coaches are trying to show you how to practice, but it's time now that these leaders start to show a little tough love in their leadership. But you can't show tough love if you ain't out there. And Micah, I ain't getting on you because I understand where you're going at. And I understand what Jerry and them is on this. Something is real, and I'm going to say this one thing, and y'all just think about it. The collective bargaining agreement with the player association says you can't negotiate with a player on a contract if he's represented by an agent. You have to do your negotiation when it comes to contract and extensions with the player's agent. So all this sitting around him and Jerry been sitting around meeting for 4 hours, that's still breaking rules. And y'all happy about somebody spitting in your face and tell you he gonna do it the way he want to do it? And you don't think the agent got a problem with that? He should. Because you talking to Micah by himself got us in this problem to start with. And some of y'all clapping like that's, wait, oh yeah, well, Jerry, well, at least you're trying to get, he's doing the exact same thing that got us in this problem. Because he think he above the law. But going back to what I'm saying, I need Micah to build those calluses with his teammates. I need Micah to show them when we doing the run stopping drills. I need Micah to be in those drills to show them that, hey, I'm the alpha. This is my defense. I'm going to show you how to dominate from the defensive end. And guess what everybody else going to do? They're going to put the same work. See, Chris Jones said, I'm putting the work in, and I expect all y'all to put the exact same work in. Now, you can't put that work in. And now listen, this is not Micah's fault. But I will say this. Micah is not helping himself sitting on the sideline every day, not in his workouts. His workouts at home ain't going to help him because you're only going to get better at practicing football. But let me give you a little story about Chris Jones. For some of y'all that think that, Chris Jones is one of the best defensive tackle and defensive ends in this game. Well, 2 years ago, he sat out all the way through training camp until the first game of the season. They did an article on Chris Jones. Chris Jones talked about how tough that season was. Even though he played the season he came in, they won the Super Bowl, but he said one of his best seasons. Matter of fact, he got in late. He just felt out of rhythm. It took a long time for him to get rhythm, and he never got to his full potential. Last year, he got back to his playing thing because he was at training camp. And he's working hard in training camp now because he understands putting in the work make the season go good for him. But he held out because he had to hold out, but that don't work well for players. And if all y'all in this thing, this fantasy football, that you could take guys in John Madden out of retirement, don't have no practice because you don't practice with those teams, and you throw them out there and they still can run around and make all the tackles, that don't work. You can't cheat this game. And I'm not blaming Micah, but Jerry them know this too. You can't allow your team to lead by example because you out there worried about, playing this game. And then you turn to telling everybody about, oh, well, at least they not getting hurt. Let me tell you something, man. If you play this game not to get hurt, you ain't going to be good. So, when I said that, you can see in my previous video, I've been told, and I said Michael don't want to lose his money, but I've been saying he need to go home so he at least get to, you can't tell me he in shape. He's been sitting around for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. He can't do it so much because he said his back is hurt. Man, go home, man. If they ain't going to sign you in the contract in the next couple of days, go home, man. Get back to your workouts, man. You ain't got to use that excuse then. This is not your fault. But this team needs your leadership. And I'm not saying you to take anything to come back. But I'm telling you. I'm not telling you that. But I'm telling you what the real is. Regardless of what the situation is, the real is it's time for these leaders on this team to step their butt up and lead from the inside the lines. And it's time for them to stop being so damn nice and so cordial. Because when the end of the day comes, they're going to blame that. So you can be cordial and say, they're my buddies, and they're my comrades and not hurt. You ain't bruised no egos, no feelings when you try. And if you do get on somebody and you bruise their ego, you don't want them guys in your foxhole anyway. They ain't going to want to pay you, Tyler Smith, if the rest of your linemen ain't blocking. I'm telling you. This is the only sport that is the biggest team sport, but your individual play gets judged by what the team does. Let me say that again for the people in the back. This is the greatest team sport, but your individual play gets judged by what the team does. Let the team not be good in the run defense. They're going to say you ain't good. Let the team not get no sacks or pressures. You get pressure, but they're going to say you ain't no good. So to fix that, if you want the team to think that you good, you better fix everybody else's problem or get everybody else on the same page. I heard they ask a question, and I'm not getting on our players, but I'm just, hey, it's just got to be said. I heard CeeDee Lamb, they asked CeeDee Lamb about any defensive back to give you problems out there. And he just gave this corporate answer, and ain't nobody giving me no problems with it. Listen, man, if you got to stay out to practice with them, or you got to get them involved, you want to hope they give you a problem. Because they can't give you no problem, they gonna give A.J. Brown a problem. If they don't give you no problem, they gonna give the next receiver on the next team no problem. Being a good teammate don't mean you got to be nice. Did y'all ever watch the Last Dance? Michael Jordan was an a-hole. Kobe Bryant was an a-hole when it came to teammates because he expected perfection. Because he understood, I need these guys to be at ultimate level for us to win. I'm going to bring mine, but if I don't get them to bring theirs, and neither one of those guys went out talking about, well, you know, I need to get some help. Every time, well, let me get some more help. Let me get another superstar. Let me get another superstar. He rides those guys to whatever they can do. He wanted them to do it well. And he held them accountable. What we're doing is actually, well, you know, let's get some more. Let's get that. We want a full slate of first-round draft picks that think we're going to win a Super Bowl. Nobody else does that. Somewhere down the round, it's got the rubber got to meet the road. And this team, as a total collective group, offense, defense, special teams, got to rise their play. And these leaders got to hold them accountable. Now, I'm going to say it again. There's a threefold accountability here. You got the front office, the organization. You got the coaching staff. And then you got the players. I told you what the coach, only thing he can do with talent. Yeah, your organization got to acquire talent. And I know some people say, well, we got to get, but listen, when I hear coaching staff always talking about every year we got to get more, we got to get more, and we got to get more, and got to get more, then I ask the guy, when is it going to stop? Or when you going to improve what you have? Or I need to have a ready-made meal already. Now, I'm about to get off, man, because I got to do some things before we go. But Charles Haley is a prime example of what Chris Jones did, man. What y'all see in that video, what Chris Jones was doing, that was Charles Haley. But Charles Haley was probably way over the top. Matter of fact, Charles Haley told Nate Newton, man, I've been watching you, and he studied because he battled against the Cowboys. He said, man, the second half of the season, you fall off. You be busting butt the first half of the season. The second half of the season, listen, Nate just thought that was remarkable that Charles Haley studied enough to understand his opponents. And know what Nate was telling him? You know what Charles was telling Nate? And he probably told him in all type of nasty way. You just been fat, got out of shape, and this and that. But guess what? He belittled Nate, but he also put an olive branch out there to say, hey, brother, come work out with me and Tony Tolbert every day to keep you in shape, because I need you to be at your top, because you're going to help us get there. See, that's leadership, man. Charles Haley had to get another damn sack for the Cowboys. That right there was an extension of the coach. But guess what? Now we want to talk about the coaches? Let's talk about the coaches. When they first got there, who was in charge? Jerry then when he picked up and babying Charles up. But who got Charles? Tell the story. Charles had to tell the story. Who kept getting on his butt in practice and getting on him, and he had to go have a sit down and almost got a verbal contact with Jimmy. Jimmy tried him from the start with. Why Jimmy tried him? Just like I told you why Schottenheimer made them guys run suicides. Because, see, Jimmy had to show you, yeah, y'all the leaders, but I'm the alpha. I'm going to give you the qualities to lead, but I'm going to set the tone. And what you're going to do is you're going to echo what I'm setting with a bullhorn inside the team aspect. But I'm able to check you as well, though. And once Jimmy and Charles established that Jimmy was the man, Charles went out and carried out his statements to the team. Yeah. About sacrificing. He got on players when guys didn't take a sacrifice and go on a stunt and give up themselves for the next guy. He always talked about that. See, it wasn't all about greatness. It was about sacrifice of a team. You say, well, has Coach talked about sacrifice? I got all my little points that I've been talking about in my lives, right? What's that point right there I got right there? Let me see what that point was. I talked about this before. Sacrifice. Sometimes you got to sacrifice friends as you're a leader. Sometimes you got to piss off some of your buddies. Because at the end of the day, it's about this team. And at the end of the day, if you win, all relationships are going to be good. Cowboy Nation, keep up the fight with front office and by trying to keep the pressure on them. I'm not shooting you down for that. Yes, we need to get a one tech in here. If we got a chance to get better position, fine. But Cowboy Nation, you be very careful that you don't get so focused on the front office, so focused on this and that you take the accountability off of this team to get their job done. Don't let nobody hide behind in the corner in the shadows. When you watch tonight and you see a run play and they show a replay, or you get the all 22, or you run it back on your recording like I do, you make God doggone sure when you looking at this, you make sure that you watch everybody. And don't let nobody hide, because we are only going to be as strong as we are as a team. And your leaders, Micah, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Tyler Smith. I'll put Terrence Steele, Bland, Osa, Trayvon Diggs, Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson. Jake Ferguson. If you don't demand higher from the rest of your teammates by showing the example and getting on their butts to do it, then you ain't no leader. Because at the end of the day, they're going to call y'all names first for failure. It's time to stop being nice leaders. If Schottenheimer is setting the precedence of how he wants the culture to be built, y'all done heard it. It's time y'all to take it to the field. I ain't getting into this thing about should we play in the preseason. I've been saying that for 6 years, and I ain't was heard at all. Everybody told me that I was coach. You went on there. Now it's a big focus about our thing talking about where we should play. I've been saying this for years. I always said this. Why we should prepare less than the champion? Philadelphia's the champion, but the Cadillac organization is the Chiefs. They done been to 5 or 6 Super Bowls in this decade. They done been to 7 or 8 straight AFC Championship game. That's the Cavaliers organization. If they play their players a whole quarter, their quarterback been playing. They got the toughest training camp. They got guys that we just seen a clip that's getting on their players' cases. Why we not emulating that? I've been saying that for the longest. But we got a soft mentality as an organization that has been fueled. And I don't want to get my YouTubers mad, my fans, my fan base mad, but by us too, a soft Cadillac, Hollywood mentality, thinking that hey man, we don't want to get nobody hurt. But there's a fine line between what I told you a couple of videos ago. There's a fine line for being prepared and being protected. You want guys to be protected but not prepared? When it comes down to that, you can't protect the guy from the injury because he's gonna play sometime. So the injury may come anytime. Most of them, some of them injuries come when they're just running. I'd rather have a 53 guys that are prepared than a bunch of 53 guys that's been protected to see they're gonna get out there. Now, yeah, you can get in a situation where you can pay them so much they don't even get to the games. Well, that's just hey, or they could be in the games and get messed up around the first play. But if they're not prepared, I don't care if they dare or not. When they get in the biggest situation, they fail. But it's a thin line from going over either way too much. Just like it's a thin line when you're talking about accountability for the greatest team sport in sports. Everything, all three got to be held accountable. I want to thank everybody who's been out here on this live. I hope I was connected. Thank you, T Woo, for hanging in there and getting my audio together. We're gonna be on live later on today, man. Shortly, man, coming up. We probably gonna do a pregame, but we're gonna be on live because that game is gonna be in 3 hours. I got time to get some things done. But listen, man, I ain't joking, man. There's sacrifices we got to come up with. There's some accountability things that we got to come up with, man. Um, there's a lot of stuff that we got to come up with as a team. We got to understand, man, this accountability thing. We're trying to build these cultural blocks. Hopefully, we see some physicality tonight. Hopefully, we see some discipline in our assignments so we don't have big plays. Hopefully, we are physical and we are collectively doing stuff so we can make big plays. Hopefully, we got mental toughness to be able to handle adversity and to handle success. And the coaching / leadership. I need a Chris Jones. And I don't even know if it's got to be the best player. Sometimes it's good when becoming the best player because the best player, he's showing you that, hey, I'm telling you about work, but he's showing you how to work and dominate. I need a Chris Jones. And I need more. And I bet you on that Kansas City team is more than just one Chris Jones. Most teams have a what we call a council, a players council, the people who keep everybody in check. And I'm gonna say this again. If we can't stop the run, I'm blaming two people. If they're on the field and playing. Or if they ain't on the field playing. It's their defense. I ain't gonna say blame, because I just said about pointing fingers. I'm gonna have questions to two people first. Some of y'all go straight to the defense coordinator. My questions is to the two leaders of this defense, the top paid dogs, the guys that I think are one of the two best guys on this defense. And I know Michael Parsons and Osa. Because they need to make a statement in the team meeting that damn it, ain't nobody running the ball on us. And the rest of my defensive players can take it how y'all want to take it. So when we can't run the football, I'm gonna be talking to Dak Prescott, Tyler Smith, Terrence Steele. I'm not blaming them, but you doing your job and you can't get everybody else to do theirs, then that's a problem. And then we hope that bleeds into the rest of the team of holding each other accountable. I need my Chris Jones. And I need that more than one. Please like, comment, subscribe. Again, y'all see how coaches having problems with these videos. Hopefully, man, I just gotta get some stuff, man. There's some stuff I gotta buy, man. I'm trying to raise money for it. But if you have in your heart to donate to the channel, donate to this channel here. That's my Cash App. If you you write the Cash App down, I don't know if I'm gonna have my screen up live when we go live for the game because my memory is so messed up. I don't want to mess up everybody else live, but hopefully I may have it live. It may not be on X, but it may be on my YouTube channel. But if you want to know, if you come in with a live, you say, well, I want to honor coaching with the live as well. I can't do a super chat, but I want to honor coaches in the live. Just write down keep my Cash App, so when you tune in with us, you can say, hey, man, let me send Coach a monetary gift, man, to keep it so he can keep the nation going with the gift. If that's not, just for your presence has been enough for me. I see a lot of people in the chat, man. I just thank you so much for giving the old coach an opportunity to talk to you, and it's like therapy, getting some stuff out. But remember, accountability, it works three folds, and we got to make sure that we hold it all accountable, not just the front office, not just the coaching staff, but these team as players as well, and not just dwell on one player. We need to say, hey, when are we gonna get together and improve in anything that we do, especially the physical part? So again, thank you again, man, for all y'all do, man. Until this afternoon, not till next time, until this night, I'm out, and I appreciate you. Salute.